What's up, YouTube? Today's video is on why I picked monogamy. Now, there's a few reasons. First of all, when you first get into the dating world, the gay dating world, there's a lot of hooking up, especially if you're considered attractive. You get thrown into the deep end of that pool almost without question, and you have to find your way through all of this sexuality to a period of soul searching to decide what do you want to do, who do you want to be, how do you want to live. You start to do research, you realize that there's these super viruses out there, especially in this area, San Diego and near Hillcrest. A lot of HIV, a lot of super viruses being created from people who skip their medicines or miss their medicine dosages. And it's a big issue because those things can't be cured or prevented by things like PrEP. So you think you're safe, and yeah, you're safer, but you can't be having a bunch of unprotected sex. And so I think the only real safe way for any gay person to get to a place where they get married is you meet somebody and you're in the risky field. You find somebody, generally speaking, you guys have a sexual encounter long before you have any sort of friendship or emotional attachment to the person. If the sexual component is good, the person may or may not have a repeated sexual experience, and after the course of several of these, may develop something more than that into some sort of friendship or emotional connection. People who are in a monogamous mind frame, this whole process of going from single to committed partner happens in a much more rapid way. People who are completely fine with hooking up and don't really see a need for guys in their life except to meet the need of fulfilling their sexual urges. They want a supplemental person. And you have to put yourself through all these frames of mind to actually, mentally put yourself in a situation where you can kind of understand the way people are when they're poly, or they're, hooking up, dating around, looking around. And monogamous people will always be hurt by poly people because of the fact that they want something that the poly person doesn't want or need, where the monogamous person does want and does need the constant committed companionship and the sexual familiarity and solidity and quality, and that raw passion in the beginning turns into a very comfortable sexual place. And there are very few gay men in my age demographic in their 20s that have chosen to be monogamous, because really it is a choice when you're attractive. You can just go anywhere and get laid. And so if you find someone special to you, if you find someone precious to you, and your heart is saying, talk about this person, love this person, think about this person, and you have to recognize for what it is, but it is possible to have feelings for more than one person at the same time. But eventually, if you're a monogamous person, at least the way my mind works is I get tunnel vision towards one guy, and that's the only guy that's I'm strongly thinking about. Even though the other guys hold a beautiful place in my heart, it's tunnel vision. And because topping always symbolized commitment to me, I found a boy. I call him a boy, but he looks boyish, but he's 19. And he wants to be my partner, and I feel a closeness to him. I feel a protective force flowing through me of masculinity, and it's almost like it boosts my masculinity to be with him. And he's loves to bottom. He's beautiful, and he just can take it and take it and take it, and he loves it, and it makes me feel so wanted and like desirable and masculine, and it's a really cool feeling, you know. It feels right. And I miss him, you know, and I don't get to see him as much as I would want. But we had a magical few days together, and I absolutely can't wait to like hold him again. And then when I started talking about him around a guy I'm really serious about, and another guy I'm really serious about, and I completely cut out another guy I had been seeing on and off for like the last month or month and a half, I realized that I legitimately was starting to feel like the other people in my life were no longer sexual or romantic prospects because I had chosen a mate who I had won. And that's the thing, is as I felt like he was a prize to be won, and there were so many feelings that came over me when I met him. Feelings of wanting to protect him, feelings of wanting to help him, feelings of wanting to enter him, you know? It was a very large mixture, and feelings of wanting to be his friend and make sure he was safe and protected above all else. It was like all the feelings you would feel, an animal would feel when they find an attractive mate that they want to protect. And there's so much love I have for him, and he feels it. And I want to be there through everything, you know? And I want to know if he's the right guy for me or not. And then I have my wonderful friend who knows everything about me, who I feel accepts me, who we are consistently Skype and are friends. And I'm not even sure that the new guy who's 19 will even want to be monogamous, but like that's where my heart's at. It's the only way to stay protected, emotionally, physically, and to get your sexual needs met, and to grow into a very, very perfect union sexually, understanding each other's preferences, mastering how to please the other person, and ultimately having a very beautiful rest of your lives with a constant friend and companion. So that's basically the gist of it. Be monogamous. Being poly can be real fun, or just being single and messing around, but at the same time you're playing in like a minefield, and you got to recognize it for what it is. And I mean, using condoms is no sure way. I've had a condom slip off before. In me, I've had somebody pull off a condom. I've had just a few experiences that were risky, and I got lucky. And then, I mean, it can happen to anyone, especially if you like bottom it all. It's like you don't have as much control, and you got to make sure there's a condom on the other guy. And it's just like nobody really likes to wear condoms, and it's just like that's the gay world that we live in, you know. And you have to just make a big decision, and that's like to put the condom on. Unless you're absolutely sure and you're living with somebody and you're both willing to take that risk and get tested together and be like, okay, we're going to be like monogamous and sleep together every night, then you can be assured that they are going to be faithful. You're going to be a lot safer. And even if they're not faithful to you like one time, you're like calculating, okay, you can have 100 sexual experiences in a month, or you could have maybe like one, and then one person who, if they like messed up or whatever once or twice, I mean that would be horrible, but at least it still minimizes your risk, you know. So minimize your risk. Like, get into a partnership, both of you be faithful, and you're gonna have the best chance of surviving the whole HIV super strain crisis.